good guys for getting us through today and the next couple of days. So, tick tock, tick. Any ideas what the pattern, what's happening in the pattern, and what the next number is? Angelo.
You are dividing it by 5.
We're dividing, so we divide by 5 here to give us 25, divide by 5 here to give us 25, divide by 5 here. So what should our following numbers be?
Well, you can leave it as 1 over 5 if you really want to. So you can leave it as 1/5.
So all we're doing is dividing, and it should be by 5, so our answer should be what?
1/5.
Are we okay? Did we see the pattern?
Yep.
Let's try something again similar where we're describing the pattern. But instead of using numbers, let's this time use shapes and colors. So, same idea, let's try to describe the pattern and then fill in the next 3. So I'll give you a second, you can draw it in your notebooks. Try to figure out what shapes would come next based off of the information and the pattern before, and then also the colors. So obviously we have yellow, red, green, blue, yellow, red, green, blue. So let's just kind of pick out the colors. What's the colors going to be? After
Yellow.
blue, it's going to be yellow,
Red.
red,
And green.
and green. And then what are the shapes?
The shape is going to be the yellow is a diamond.
So we first want diamond.
Yep. Red is a circle. And green is a square.
And it was yellow.
Red and green.
And how did you know that, Angelo?
When you look at the pattern, you can see that there's a certain pattern and then it starts all over again. So you induce from what you saw that the pattern was going to begin again, and it would be the same exact shapes.
Very good. He looked at the first, was it 4? The first 4 and noticed it was a diamond, circle, square, circle, and then also with the color pattern. So what Angelo's been doing here is he's taking the information, the patterns before, and making the conclusion based off of that. Which brings us into 1.1, which is inductive reasoning. So we'll go over, you guys have your vocab sheets, take them out, we'll go over what inductive reasoning is, and then we'll learn how to make conjectures and disprove conjectures, and then you guys will have work from your workbook. You should be able to finish it, if not, finish it at home, and that will be your homework. And I'll be back tomorrow, but let's go over some vocab. So, 2.1, inductive reasoning. Today our goal will be, how do you use inductive reasoning in mathematics? So just like we did before, we were taking these patterns and then we were making a conclusion based off of them. So inductive reasoning, Angelo, why don't you go ahead and read it for us?
Inductive reasoning. You use when you find a pattern in specific cases and then write a conjecture for the general case.
So what we were doing is we looked at the patterns before, and then we wrote a conjecture based off of what it was. So the first time we saw that the numbers were being divided by 5, so our answer was 1/5. Before with the patterns and the shapes, we saw the general case of the colors, and then we got to make this conclusion that it was going to be yellow, red, green. Was it yellow, red, blue? So conjecture
is an unproven statement that is based on observations.
So we're looking at something that's happening up, and then we can make a conjecture, we can say this is what's going to happen, and then we can actually show it, right? And then we'll learn how to disprove conjectures. And we'll just go over it, and then we will try some. So, disproving conjectures, go ahead.
To show that a conjecture is true, you must show that it is true of all cases. You can show that a conjecture is false, however, by simply finding counterexamples. And a counterexample is a specific case for which the conjecture is false.
So we'll just go over some conjectures, we'll base it off a pattern, we'll come up with our own conjecture, and then we'll talk about how you disprove them. When you disprove them, you just need one example. So anytime, if we have this pattern, all you need to do is once, and it's not true. So we'll slowly work our way